Okay, here's the base off of an old fire pit that we had that kind of rusted out. It looks pretty good. And my wife wants to use it on our porch. And so I need to make a little tabletop for this. So that's what we're going to do this afternoon. This thing is about 24 inches in diameter. And we're going to cut something on a flat, stick it on top, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, guys. Well, this is an interesting problem. I'm cutting out this tabletop over here for our outdoor patio. And I get all the way done. And during the middle cutting of this, which took about an hour and a half, I got some serious distortion up here with the metal because this is right next to the edge up there. Down here, it's not too bad, but up there, it's so far distorted that the torch can't even go this high back there. I think it's probably, well, if you look at this here, I'll go ahead and press this down. Kind of, all right. So, and of course, on the last cut, my consumables went out. My plasma tip went out over here. So I put a new tip. I was able to stop it, pause it. I put a new tip in, and I had to go back over here in cut control or fire control, and kind of try to start somewhere along here. And when it restarted, the torch height was really off, and so it cut a really wide slot over there, and it's getting ugly. And that back there, the plasma torch would be riding right along the edge of would be riding on the metal. So what I ended up doing to fix this is I abandoned the file, and fortunately I put a big enough rim on the outside that I could take a little bit off. So I ended up in sheet cam, I drew this circle, which is about a half an inch diameter shorter, smaller than the original design. And I put it so it's centered so I can get my XY back in place. And the other thing I ended up doing was I was really careful not to move my machine zero or my workpiece zero. And when I was dragging it around, I caught the tip in a hole up here and it pulled the metal. So I got that all screwed up. So I drew this extra circle that's a half an inch smaller in diameter, and I made the center point of the work right in the center of my part. So I think that's going to work. Except now I got some problem up there. So I think what I got to do is take this sheet off and somehow bend this back so it's a little bit flatter, and then put it back on, re-zero to the center here, and then go ahead and cut the perimeter. I guess what my excuse me, what my tip is for if you're doing something that's got, I don't know how many cuts are in this thing. I was we have a very large air compressor here, and what I was doing was I was just running it continually, and eventually my cut 45 overheated, so I had to stop periodically to start up the cuts again. And what I did was when the compressor would run, I would go ahead and do a pause for about 30 seconds in the cut, and then I would resume. But even then, because I decided to put my my workpiece 0 way up in that corner. There wasn't enough metal up here to absorb the heat, and so that's why we got so much massive distortion in this top area of the design. So you live and learn. All in all, I think I've babysat this entire cut for about at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I don't know, probably an hour and a half. It's going to look beautiful when I put it on the table, but I do need to cut this perimeter out. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, I didn't want to take it off. What I ended up doing was I kind of just held this corner up here, which forced that back corner down. And I started cutting over here where it kind of pivoted right here on the one that was flexing. So I went about halfway around here. And then over here, I lost torch height control as it came around this back side. So I stopped it and I went back into sheet cam and I forced it to start cutting that same diameter circle right about here. But I got a little bit of a kink right here, which is fine. I'll just ease that out with a flappy disc. And then as I came around here, this whole part here was pretty high, and I was dragging the tip on the torch again, and I got a little bit of a jaggy right there. That's fine. I'll take that out. And I came around, and then I got back over here to where I started, and I just stopped it. So I think this is going to work okay. It is fairly bent, but I think when I get it off and cool it down, it's going to look really nice on this little pedestal that we have. All right, here's the back of our tabletop. Remember now it's 11 gauge. I don't know if I told you that, but it's 11 gauge, and it is kind of tacoed a little bit, but I'll be able to kind of flatten that back out again before I attach it back to the stand. And it's interesting that there's some of these cuts are really clean, but other ones have a lot of dross. I think I'll be able to get it off, but in actuality, it doesn't matter because this can be on the bottom side. But I'll go in. Oh, it's coming off pretty easily. I'll just take this off of the wire wheel, and some of this edge kind of has a lot of dross on it, but this will come off easy. And then there's a couple of these little areas where I have a little bit of a notch from having to restart the torch. But all in all, I think this is kind of cool. I mean, if you look at this thing, it's going to look awesome back there as a table for our porch. All right, well, I got it clamped down and I put some tacks on here, and we'll go ahead and take it off, and hopefully it won't taco the whole frame. Wish me luck. Well, it turns out I put enough tacks in here to hold that thing flat, and it looks great. I went ahead and used one of these sanding buffer wheel things. I don't know what that's called, but take a lot of the mill scale off because my wife wants everything in the garden to be kind of a rusty look. So I'm not going to paint this. We're just going to let it rust naturally, but it looks awesome. And I'm putting probably about 10 tacks around the framework, tighten up the screws, super sturdy. There's no flex in it when you push down on it because of this 11 gauge. And it's awesome. What a great project for this afternoon. I'll go ahead and show you some photos. We'll take a look at what it looks like in the garden. I've had my Langmuir Systems Crossfire Pro for about 3 years, and I've never had this much scrap left over under the table. So it's going to take a little while to clean this out, but the table worked out great. Okay, I'm back here in the back side of the garden, and we have a little seating area back here. And this is where this little new table is going to go. Came out great. I think it's going to fit in just fine. And it's a nice area. It's a nice little seating area we have back here in the back garden. All right. Thanks for watching.